how did you first hear about the role in Doom? Was it an audition or did you get approached for the job with the history that you've got?
Everything is always through an agency. So
Yeah,
my
yeah,
agency, CESD, talent, big shout out to CESD Talent Agency,
yeah.
who are hugely responsible for the space that I'm holding right now in this business.
Mm,
Um, it was an audition.
okay.
It was literally just an audition. And I did my audition in my booth, in my
Yeah.
own recording booth, and sent it in. And then there was this callback, and in the callback, what they do is the game developers or the writers are online on like a Zoom call, and they'll give you direction because they've been working on it for so long. They know the direction they want to go. But what was interesting was I gave two takes, one with the accent that the character originally had. And I wanted to bring just a different truth, a more powerful and palpable truth of war and destruction, and finding the space that you hold as a leader and embracing that. And as I continued to hold that space, I found that my voice kept going back to me and not a younger voice, which I originally done in the first audition take. And in the second take, as I embraced the story, as I embraced the feelings, I found that my voice naturally went back to me.
Mm,
That's what they went with.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
said, you don't want the accent, you don't want the age range. It's like, we
What,
want the truth, we want the
yeah.
story, we want the truth.
What accent were they
And that's how
looking
I ended
for?
up
Sorry.
booking it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what accent were they looking for? Just out of curiosity.
I don't recall. I don't recall if it was an English accent or if it was slightly. Okay, I do recall. They didn't want something that was discernible. They didn't want English and they didn't want Spanish. They didn't want something that you would discern where that person was from, but they wanted it light enough. And so I kind of blended um, Russian and Spanish together and then made it very light. I kind of blended Russian and Spanish and then made the blending of them very, very light so
Mm,
that you couldn't tell where,
wow.
because they didn't want it distinguishable.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it sounds like you did a lot of preparation for your character then. A lot of
Always, I
training.
always,
Yeah.
always do.
Mm. Well, do you ever, draw your own life experiences when it comes to voicing emotionally and intense scenes?
Every single time. There's
Yeah.
there's no there. My thing is this: there's no experience where I haven't. You can't. In my journey of doing this for me, not for
Mm.
everybody else, but for me, I always draw on it because I can't work without it.
Mm.
It's like leaving home without your keys.
Yeah. 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 What other preparation did you do to, get yourself ready for the Doom world and Doom universe? Like, how did you prepare yourself?
All about relationships. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, it's not about words; it's about story. And once you know what the story is, you're building the relationships with everything in that world. It's building what I call relationships, how you relate. How am I relating to my father? How am I relating to the Slayer? How am I relating to what's happening to my people? How am I relating to all of these experiences? What are my feelings? Because at the end of the day, the thing that equalizes all of us as human beings are feelings. You can speak different languages, it's our feelings. And so we don't say a word without a feeling. Our brain is constantly working and putting together linear thought. But what comes out based on that linear thought is how we feel about something. So as that feeling comes out, it's expressed in words.
Mm. Okay. So it sounds
And
like,
so for
yeah.
me, it's always embracing the feelings of what's going on, knowing what's going on in the linear world of it, and then embracing the feelings and allowing the feelings to convey
Mm.
the words,
It's a
and not
very
the way around.
it's a very powerful environment to be in that Doom, mindset, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. And a
Yeah.
huge responsibility.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's, the work is the responsibility, but the character has a responsibility. This being has a responsibility. And so I let them live within me. And so they use my voice, they use my diaphragm, they use my feelings to tell their story.
Mm. Mm. It sounds like you relate really well to Commander Thira then. Um,
The reason the relationship exists is because I let her live within me. A lot of actors will say, you know, I become the character, but I can't become a flat piece of paper. I can't become pages and words on a page. I let that being use my body to become flesh, use my feelings and my relationships to relate to so that they become real. Because they're not real until you hear them. You're not real until you see them. And they're really not real until you feel them and allow yourself to have your own feelings. You know, I can't make you feel anything. She can't make you feel anything. But what we can do is tell the truth together so that you can feel whatever you're meant to feel for yourself in your interpretation. Because at the end of the day, I can't make you feel anything, but I'm there to put stuff on the table so that you can pick your feelings about how you feel about things in the story and in the character more than anything else. And it's almost like what I consider possession. I let her possess me and tell her truth and tell her story and her feelings and share her world with me
wow.
and use my body to do it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a possession, you know,
Yeah.
if I have
Yeah.
to liken it to something. Use my body and my thoughts and my feelings and my heart to tell your story.
Well, that's deep. It sounds like she took over control when you're in that element of her character. Yeah.
Yeah, I won't say she takes control because, but she has the power. I give her
Mm.
power.
Mm.
So
Okay.
I won't say it's a control because you don't want to lose control.
Mm.
So she has the power because of the words. She has the power because of relationships. She has the power to, and the freedom.
Yeah.
So I have control. She has the freedom.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. So obviously we know her as the commander. What kind of leader would you say she is, in a bit more detail?
Her leadership is not just based on the skill she had and the power she has. Her leadership is based on the foundation that I found is embracing her people, the well-being of her people. More than anything else, it's the embracing and the well-being of her people. That comes first to her. That is important to her. That is the utmost to her. She's willing to sacrifice herself for that. She's willing to do everything within her, the fiber of her being, to do that for her people. That means the world to her. It is her world.
So do you
She
think
does not see herself as a leader. She sees herself, even though she has that position, as someone who will fight along with you, be there with you, go through your sorrows, your sadness, your suffering with you, be there for the celebration with you, mourn and grieve with you. So she is everything she is, and everything she does is for her people.
So do you think it sounds like you think she was born to lead then? It didn't just grow into her, it was already there?
I would say that she was influenced to
Okay.
embrace that.
Okay.
I would say that she was hugely influenced at a young age to embrace that because of everything that was going on around her.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you've had a lot of leadership voices and roles within video games. Did you approach your character's leadership voice differently to any of the other characters that you
You
played?
have to.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have to because they all have these different worlds, these different ways, these different lives. Because you have to look at the life that they have, and when you can embrace the life that they have, you know how they're going to be a part of this world. You know, you can't now take this person and put them in that world and put them in that world. They wouldn't survive, and for very long. And so it's about embracing the world that they're in order to or rather I call overstand how they operate in that world because their world means everything. So it's embracing that world, having an overstanding of that world so that you can accept without any judgment the way they move in that world. If there's a respect there, there's a reverence for it. So everyone has their own, like I said, that's why I don't have favorites because everyone has their own world that I embrace and respect. And so I can't say, well, that's my favorite, because you can't compare those two worlds.
mm,
So all of that work in preparation is powerful, but I respect the individuality of the worlds that I am embarking on.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think marked her turning point then?
Say it again.
What do you think marked her turning point?
But she has many turning points.
Yeah,
There are a
yeah.
lot of things that will be turning points in the story.
Mm,
And so everything that marks a turning point in general for all of us is not so different. What marks a turning point is an experience, and then
yeah,
the choice you make after, an
yeah,
experience, and then embracing the choice, and the experience, and thinking about the choice that is necessary to make, or you have to make, or you want to make, or are willing to make, or are forced to make.
mm,
So everything is a turning point in life itself. And
yeah,
so embracing those turning points is building the story and building the personality of that being, and accepting and embracing the personality of who they are, without judgment.
yeah. Okay, I mean, what does order mean to her in a world built of chaos?
It's everything, again, because the order is all about her people.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
if you're asking me any of those things, it's always going to come back to
To the people.
her people. It's
Mm,
always going to come back to her people, to trying to rid chaos in order to find some semblance of this, of a peace.
mm,
Because she doesn't live in a fantasy world that it's all going to be peace,
yeah,
but she lives in a world that says, within the dynamics of all of this pain and sorrow and suffering, we have to rip through, tear through, go through, to get through, to find a sense of peace and balance,
yeah,
a sense of well-being.
yeah, yeah.
So you have to create sometimes violence in order to find peace.
Mm. Has she ever ordered something she knew that was wrong though? Do you think just to win a battle?
No,
Okay.
because in her world there is no good, bad, right, or wrong. There are decisions that are made for a higher purpose, a
Yeah.
greater. She doesn't see things in this is good or bad or right or wrong. There are decisions that are made for a purpose. Everything for her is purpose, purpose, purpose.
Mm. Okay. I mean, I know you mentioned the people, and it always goes to the people in the game, and the characters. But does she truly care about those under her command? Do you think, or are they just
Always,
assets?
there is, like I said,
Yeah.
if you know this character, if you know this being, it's always about care, because that's how she operates. And she doesn't operate for power. She operates to for everyone she sees. She does it for everyone she knows. She does it for those that she doesn't know. She does it for those who have lost and suffered. So for her, her operation is, how do I keep people as safe as I possibly can while being in command? And how do I sacrifice myself if necessary for those that have sacrificed themselves before me?
Mm. Okay. Does she believe force is the only language people understand now as well? Then.
No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
something she has to embrace, because that's the world she lives in.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's dark. It sounds deep.
It
Yeah.
is deep,
Yeah. Do you
because
think
she's
it's
part of a
yeah?
lineage, a very, very powerful lineage.
Mm,
And so she's, at the same time, she's still continuing to take a journey to embrace herself and her destiny from where her past was.
mm. What do you think her long-term goal is, being the commander? Do you
I
think?
don't think she has a long-term goal. I think more than anything else, it's stay in this moment and have this respite. She's known war for a long time, so it's like, when you have an opportunity for respite, embrace it. Get a chance to talk to people, be out there with people, and continue to connect, to see the needs of others, and know that when you are in command as a commander, it's based on the needs of others, because you got to know people. So I don't think she goes, here's my long-term goals, because she's not a politician. Here's my long-term goals, because I plan to be a leader. She embraces leadership because it has a purpose for others, not for a stature herself.
Okay. So she doesn't want to rebuild the world then, really? Do you think?
I won't say that she wants to rebuild the world. She
Yeah.
wants to create a space that is safe, safer
Okay.
than it's been before.
Yeah. So do you think she could walk away though once it's over as well, or not?
She could, but she would always, there's always that possibility to call back, because those things are momentary. So what you're asking right now is about momentary things. It's never one thing or the other. Because again, we as human beings, we have choice in everything we do.
Yeah.
And then we watch the world around us, and then our choices change. So
Mm.
someone can say like, oh, I'm kind of done with that. I'm kind of done with this. But when you see that there is a need and no one else is stepping up, you will step into that space again. The one thing I can say about her is um, her honesty, her altruism, her bravery, her courageousness, and her selflessness call her to duty more than other people or her father will call her to duty. It's
Well,
her desire to change things that
mm,
call her to duty.
yeah. It's a very
And that,
important job, isn't it? It's a very big leadership role. I mean,
it's
yeah, yeah,
heavy is the crown.
yeah, yeah,
Heavy is the crown. Heavy is the crown.
yeah,
And heavy is the head who wears that crown.
yeah. While recording, did any of the lines hit you emotionally? Do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
hit you on a
Absolutely.
personal level. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
mm,
They have to. They should. For me, they should.
yeah,
Because that's where the reality, because she's using my thoughts and my feelings because she was on paper, and now, like I said, like possession, she takes over. So her feelings about that are the same as my feelings. The same way that if you were in a sympathetic situation and a helpless situation, and you watch something that was really painful taking place on a YouTube video, you and I would have the same feelings. Most likely, we would have the same feelings. The pain and the frustration and the sorrow and the sadness of something, because we would put ourselves in the place of that person, and we put ourselves in the place of the people that grieve for that person, and we get emotionally overwhelmed sometimes. And so talking to people you care about and want to care about and see them do well, see them be at peace. I mean, imagine right now if this were Gaza and the Middle East. Imagine right now if this were the Ukraine. So
yeah,
it's all of that reality,
yeah. It's everything at once, isn't it? As well.
everything all
Yeah,
at once.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of emotions. Do you think they put enough in the game to sort of be able to make us understand?
The game can never put
Yeah.
in emotions. That's why you have
Okay.
voice. That's why you have people coming in, because
Yeah.
that's why I said you can write all of that down.
Mm.
You're writing emotions, but you're not feeling them. And so the writers are feeling the emotion, but you put it on paper, and that's where the feeling ends. So that's where we come up and pick up that chain and bring our truth to the table, our reality to the table, our emotions and our truth, our authenticity, our vulnerability to the table, so that people can feel their own vulnerability. I can't make you feel. That's manipulation. And that's not truth. But I can tell you my truth, and whatever you seek in that truth that belongs to you, you're going to take from that. You're not going to take my truth, you're going to take your own.
Yeah. Wow. What lines hit you the hardest when recording? What lines specifically?
I can't tell you that. I can just tell you, is the game out already?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. It came out. Yeah.
The scene where she's talking to her people,
Yeah.
when she's standing over and talking to their people
Okay.
and giving that speech about, and then at the end, you know, the Slayer, he needs this being, this Slayer,
Mm.
for everything that he was and everything that he is. You have to salute him.
Yeah.
You have to give him his due, his credit.
Okay.
He was not meant to have it. He was
Yeah.
meant to be used, and she saw him beyond that, way beyond that.
Mm. Okay. So I
No
know.
one else did,
Yeah.
not even her father. So it
Okay.
really was necessary to now. It's almost in those quiet moments when you reflect over all of that, that everything, all the experiences come flooding in that moment. And so that's why that was pivotal for me and emotional for me, because it was taking all of the things that had been happening with her father and everything else, taking all of that which was happening with the Slayer and what was necessary, taking all of the things that she felt were betrayals, taking all of the things that she was discovering about her life. And now that it's all been out there, you finally get to have this speech in front of people, this conversation. It's all of the emotions of the past in that one moment flooding out. I did that. I think I did that section of recording for about a good hour, just that section alone, good, maybe longer, because I kept feeling things and I would say, wait a minute. Can I go again? Okay, wait a minute. I want to change this. Do you mind? Because things kept flooding in. So it took me a minute to continue to really go through it, because as more emotions came up, I wanted to put them on the table I didn't want to go like, and we got it, you feel it. Because
Yeah,
these
yeah.
feelings, because I was thinking about the things that she was going through, and I was putting myself in that space, and those feelings came up, and I was like, I have to put this feeling out here.
Mm.
And I
Okay.
think at the end of recording it, I cried.
Wow. Yeah.
I
Yeah. It's
recall
emotional.
at the end of it, just letting it all out,
Yeah.
that I cried for her and I cried for myself.
Have any other games made you feel that way, or is it mainly?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Because there's so many
Woo!
emotions. Yeah. Yeah.
Seer Junda in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Ooh!
Yeah.
And the the one that really ripped me.
Mm.
I collapsed on the floor, screaming my head off,
Wow.
crying. And it was only one scene. It was God of War Ragnarok, and I played Gryla.
Okay.
That scene was very psychologically and emotionally heavy for me.
Mm.
That scene as Gryla, Angerboda's grandmother in
Wow.
God of War Ragnarok.
Okay. Why is that in a bit more sort of detail? Why did it sort of make you feel that way, do you think?
I only had one day to record to do the performance capture, because other than Doom, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Star Wars Jedi Survivor as Seer Junda was motion capture, performance capture. Gryla in God of War Ragnarok was also performance capture. And so when I got up, it was like 7 a.m. and I was holding the emotions from the story, holding them, embracing them. The anger, the sorrow, the anger, the sorrow, the frustration, the anger, the sorrow, the lament, the loss. I was holding all of those. Got in the shower holding it. Got in the car holding it. Now I'm getting to the studio where we're shooting it at Sony, and I'm holding all those emotions. I tell the director I don't want to speak to the young lady who's playing Angerboda, and it was her first video game, and she won a BAFTA. And I said, I don't want to see her. She played my granddaughter. I don't want to talk to her. I'm holding all these emotions. And I didn't rehearse with her. I didn't pay attention to her. I didn't even see her until we started shooting. She didn't know what was going on. And right we're about to shoot, I would walk up to her and look at her in her eyes. And then I'd walk away. And the second time we shot, I walked up to her and I looked her in the eyes. I never said a word. And then she began to overstand as she looked in my eyes what I was feeling, all the stuff that I was holding in. And by the third time, she looked in my eyes and all I could see was her love for me as her grandmother. And I broke down crying, and it made me angry. It made me angrier. And so when we shot that last scene for that third time, after I say all those things, the things that I say are based on the emotions that I've been holding since 7 a.m. for hours. And it's like 10 a.m. now, 11 a.m., 3 to 4 hours holding all of that. And never meeting her to go, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. My name is Deb. None of that. And so when I finish that scene, I'm already on my knees. When the director goes, cut, I'm screaming and crying my head out to get out all those feelings I've been holding since 7 a.m., holding it in like vomit. And that was heavy duty for me because I only had one day to shoot it. So I wanted to make sure that everything was there. It's like you're moving and you want to make sure that everything that you took out of that place is gone. In this house, you want to leave it completely empty and take it all with you. And that's what I did. And it was just a burden and a heavy. But I needed to do that for myself because it was the one day I had to shoot it. One day. There was no, okay, we'll come back and we'll pick that up tomorrow. Okay, we'll come back and shoot that. Don't worry about it. We'll come back. One day. And so I wanted to bring everything with me. And and I can't think of her name. I don't mean to be disrespectful. The young lady who played Angerboda, who won the BAFTA that year. First video game, BAFTA. She began to comprehend what I was doing because she hadn't seen, Angerboda hadn't seen her grandmother in a long time.
Mm.
And so seeing me for the first time was that.
Yeah. Wow.
And seeing the frustration was the first time. as opposed to rehearsing the frustration, rehearsing the lines, rehearsing the anger. You can't rehearse those feelings. You let them come up right when they come up,
Yeah.
right in that moment. And so that's why it was extremely powerful for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds very emotional being in the industry. I mean, is there enough therapy, just to sort of ease it
The
off a bit?
industry isn't emotional at all.
No, yeah, the
No,
characters,
it's
yeah.
not the industry, the emotional,
I
it's the
mean,
choices you make.
yeah.
And that's important. It's cathartic. It's powerful. You don't hold on to it. I mean, I think it's dangerous to hold on to it. And we've seen examples of that in the entertainment industry with Heath Ledger
Yeah.
holding on to the darkness of the Joker
Mm,
and finding ways to cope,
mm,
medications to cope, and not being able to completely let that go. And I don't think it was on purpose. I think it wasn't meant to happen, but it happens when the body and the mind are fighting.
mm.
The body and the psychology are fighting with what you're putting into your body and the way you feel, and hoping, the next day I'll get better, and the next day I'll get better, and there's no next day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've seen people who have embraced things where it has really been rough. There's a movie, and you're probably too young to know this movie or have seen it. It's called Apocalypse Now, and it was
I've heard of
directed.
it. I've definitely heard of it, but I haven't seen
Okay,
it. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and the lead actor was just one of my, I was going to say favorite, but I won't
Yeah.
call him
Yeah.
favorite.
It's
But
in the trap.
yep, but Martin Sheen is so brilliant. I've been following his career for a long time. I embrace the personal space that he holds in the world. I embrace the creative space he holds in the world. And I have a deep, profound admiration and respect for him. In one scene, he is kind of losing his mind. And he's drunk. And he's just wearing his underwear in the jungle, in his tent. And he's lashing out. And he hits a mirror. And it fractures. And it cuts his hands wide open. And he's looking at the blood. And he's not feeling the pain because there's so much pain within him that he's not really fully comprehending the pain of the bleeding. He was really in distress. Francis Ford Coppola shot a man who was having a nervous breakdown in real life. Martin Sheen wasn't acting. And directly after that scene, he had a heart attack. He's fine. He's fine. But that was the power of holding on to something so much so that you can't release it because you don't know how. And your body goes, we got to let this go. We got to let this go. Your heart's pounding and blah, blah.
Yeah, and it's the choices like you mentioned as well, that you make as well.
But the scene is
Yeah.
brilliant. And when you watch it, you're watching it like this.
Yeah.
Because you don't know it's real.
Yeah.
But it's real.
Yeah. It feels real when you watch it.
And you don't know it until you find out later on. When they talk about the movie, when they do a retrospective, when they do a Q&A or a panel, you're like, oh my God. You just think it's brilliant acting. And he went deep. Yeah, he went that deep. Crazy. But so those are things where it can be for some people.
Yeah.
But I think I hadn't experienced or witnessed or heard stories within the voiceover industry of something becoming so overwhelming.
Yeah.
That's happened.
Okay.